The sixth episode of WestWorld's fourth season, Fidelity, features Caleb, a character who can relate to anybody who has ever played video games. Probably because I lack the hand-eye coordination required to succeed. I was never the type of guy who could sit down and speed-run any game. And I preferred to explore games rather than merely moving from point A to point B as soon as possible. Side quests, please. I'd want some Easter eggs. Give me activities that waste time, even while I don't often play video games to survive. My strategy is extremely reminiscent of the way Caleb gradually works up to an attempt to escape Charlotte Hale's covert facility in Deleuze's Manhattan headquarters. Caleb has attempted to escape before. And each time he succeeds, he leaves a breadcrumb for a future iteration of himself. A scraped metal grating with a marker blood then soot-covered handprints on the wall. In the end, there are literally a lot of dead and dying Calebs gathered around the final significant barrier, cutting Caleb off from the outside world. To Charlotte Hale's dismay, he has a living daughter and will stop at nothing to get to her. Given Caleb's lengthy experience as a hunter of outliers for Rehoboam and the way he refused, all she wants to know is what the problem is with the outliers, and he appears to be her sole clue into the way those individuals think about her initial parasite control method. Somewhere in the recesses of his digitally copied mind is an explanation. She just has to pry it out of him. It has not gone well for prying, although Charlotte may have hundreds of Calebs to attempt to elicit knowledge from. Each one only has a finite lifespan. And, to be quite honest, Charlotte is impatient and having a hard time understanding some of the host's interactions with mankind. She doesn't comprehend it. And the more she considers it, the more her own peculiarities become evident. She could be pressing for information because she is conscious of the passing of her own time. There are always issues with attempting to infuse a human personality into a host pearl, as seen by the several unsuccessful Caleb clones. And those issues only get worse as more modifications are made to a host's fidelity to allow them to pass more easily for a living human. Frankie, aka C, has only had one life to understand what Caleb has accomplished over 279 builds and what Bernard has accomplished during 8 years in the Sublime. To her credit, she has done a remarkable job of learning all the lessons about living and thriving in a mind-controlled environment that her father and her mother, Wade, have taught her. Since she was a young girl and Caleb left to fight alongside Maeve, she has been doing this, saving outcasts and teaching them how to fight. She never lost hope, and that optimism is what propels her to continue fighting with her friends and comrades in the resistance. Even when there is a mole in the group, he never came back to the group, working counter to their interests. The similarities between Caleb and Frankie's stories are really well done. Andrew Seckler and the show's editing team did an excellent job of match cutting between the two and smash cutting between Caleb's reality in a cold, white box and his fundamental memories of his daughter running alongside him through a field, similar to how Maeve's kid connected with her despite a few career and programming changes. Hale's dead child and ex-husband now serve as more of an afterthought than a defining characteristic of his persona. She does mention her loss, which screenwriters Jordan Goldberg and Ali Rock remember. But it feels less significant coming from her mouth than it does from the real father, Caleb, and Maeve. As Frankie told Bernard, Charlotte's love for her kids is just a part of her programming. It isn't a core memory like it is for Caleb and Maeve, particularly during the rescue scenario, which depicts little Frankie learning at her mother's side while undergoing some very severe on-the-job training. Seckler and crew make excellent use of the show's conceits. It always affects me when a large group of people freeze in place, right down to the individuals pouring wine that has accidentally spilled all over them and the youngsters slowly coming to a stop on a swing set. It's especially effective in Fidelity, when Frankie and her friends try to fool the hostages sent to apprehend them by freezing still. The latter scenario, in which Frankie has to fend off a host impersonating one of her resistance group members while hearing pieces of her father's really wonderful message back to her, is superior to that one since it is more stressful than anything Caleb does. It's a great setup and a fantastic battle that calls to mind Westworld's third season, when hosts frequently replaced humans. It also brought up memories of The Thing, but without the use of a flamethrower to assess whether or not a person was a host. Frankie can reveal the host in their midst with the use of just her own observations of the people around her, and Bernard's helpful suspicion, and she manages to do it with the least amount of personal or friend sacrifice. She's been portraying herself as a mindless drone for years, and it appears that it paid off since she can maintain her act right up until she strikes electronic danger. She's put good people at risk. The majority of Fidelity is written to build tension that is rewarded in a few wonderful moments. The scenario before it explodes into violence is extremely stressful. Aaron Paul performs excellent physical work as the multiple Calebs in various degrees of decay. His last radio broadcast to his daughter is a stunning piece of speech executed very well by the actor. Similarly, doing an imitation of Mac Reddy from Aurora Perino while exploring the eerie ruins of Deleuze's long-abandoned Golden Age Park. Frankie's peaceful handling of the matter once she discovers who the host replacement isn't is done really well, and the tease between the two prospective replacements is extremely well done. Frankie will benefit from his ability to tell who is a host and who isn't before the shots are fired in the future. If Charlotte Hale can persuade Caleb to work with her, even if she can't get him to reveal how he was able to resist her mind control, should she just want to duplicate herself in his body like her progenitor Dolores? Perhaps going directly to the source is the only way to fix a problem instead of using middlemen. Technically, you could also do it through intermediaries who are you. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to comment, subscribe and give us a like.